So welcome to the next talk, Map Bender and how to create web applications for your needs. So if you are interested in publishing your maps, your WMS services, you're here at the right place. And during the conference, you may have heard that there are many clients around that you could use. So Map Bender is one way you could do it, and I show you what are the special things or why Map Bender could be interesting for you. I always also want to connect to the motto of this conference. Remember how we started. I'm involved in OSGeo and FOSS4GE since many years. So I will have a look at this as well and show what's possible and what you can do in this community. So let's have a look at myself. I'm Astrid Emde. I come from Cologne, work in Bonn, and I'm part of the Map Bender team since quite a while. I'm involved in the PSC, but I'm not programming anymore. I do more conception, testing, documentation, workshops, and all this community work around. I'm also active in FOSS4GE. That's a local German language chapter from OSGeo. We do a lot of things in Germany, we will see later, and Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. I'm OSGeo's charter member since 2010, and since last year I was elected to the OSGeo board, and I'm really honored to be there for 2 years now, working on OSGeo topics. And I'm also involved in OSGeo Live, so if you have a project that you would like to bring to OSGeo Live to use it in workshops and profit from this project, you can contact me as well. So I work at Ware Group in Bonn. We have about more than 30 employees nowadays, developers, consultants, geospatial experts. We work on open source since more than 15 years, and we are the company behind Map Bender, Metador, and Mobs, and are located in 3 locations, Bonn, Berlin, Freiburg, and are also involved in OSGeo and FOSS4GE quite extensive. And if you are interested, we are hiring, so if you would like to work on WebGIS and open source software, you can connect me as well. So we have a training academy called FOSS Academy. So if you would like to have training, you can look at our website and maybe you find a course that suits to you. And there will be a Map Bender workshop on Friday. So if you find this is interesting for you, you could come to the workshop on Friday. So I will start with some pictures of what we do and where we are involved with Map Bender, or what I like in the community. So here are some pictures from last OSGeo code sprints, or nowadays we call it community sprints. On the left you have from 2016 when we hosted FOSS4GE in Bonn. You see Angelos Chochos from Greek with the OSGeo Live poster, and we are there sitting with the OSGeo Live team. And also on the right, this was this March when we came to Bonn again with people from all over the world working on open OSGeo projects that are people from OSGeo Live team. And here Vicky Vergada at the bottom, who is working on PG routing, and on the left at the bottom, the whole group of people who came to the OSGeo code sprint in Bonn. It was a great place and we had a great time, made connections, and we want to host it again in some years, so you will get to know about it. I also work on FOSS4GE, which we host every year in a different city in Germany with about 400 to 500 people coming to the conference, hearing about OSGeo software like we do here at FOSS4GE. And it will be in Dresden, so if you speak German and are close to Dresden, you are invited to come next year. We did it for some years now, you can see here on the map, and we started in March 2006 with a conference in Bonn where we already had 350 participants. So there's a big community in German language speaking areas, and we are not only OSGeo people, software people, but we have a very strong OpenStreetMap community and we work together quite well. So what we do else is going to Linux Hotel 2 or 3 times a year, working there, exchanging, and you can see at the bottom that was in Bolsena. Maybe some of you know there's every year a Bolsena code sprint, which is really worth going, where you can meet other people and work on your project in a really nice atmosphere. So it's really great. And for this conference, you shouldn't miss the FOSS4GE Europe Community Sprint on Friday and Saturday. So if you're still around, you should come to the university and join us there with the code sprint. So how did I start? I worked at CCGIS, we say, and Jeff McKenna used to say CCGIS, but this is the company of Arnulf Christel and Peter Stamm, who is still, Arnulf left the company, but Peter Stamm is still there, and that's the company where MapBender is born, and where the name changed to Ware Group after some years, so MapBender is still in this company context. So here you can see how MapBender looked over 10 years ago, and at the bottom you can see our concept, which is still the same nowadays. So you create a user account, you have user interfaces that you can build up, you can populate them with maps, you grant access, and you do everything with an administration interface. So this is a goal, and this is a goal nowadays as well. So you could leave the room if it's enough for you now. But yeah, so we still follow our concept, and that days we did code sprints and community meetings, and Arnulf was quite active in OSGeo and promoting MapBender all over the world. So we had these meetings as well with our MapBender team at different locations. That was at FOSS4GE at the top, together with the QGIS people those days. They were meeting there as well in Hanover at FOSS4GE conference. And I came into the community in 2006, to the global community at the first FOSS4GE in Lausanne. And we went there with this yellow-orange bus that you saw there. And we went to Lausanne with all the company members, and it was quite exciting. And I had two presentations, one about MapBender and one about Fiona. Those who have been here yesterday at the Libra explanation about how they do it in Spain, it's similar. Fiona is a platform where farmers can map their Schläge, their parcels, and they can ask for money. So we still work on this project, not with MapBender, with a different solution. But yeah, years ago I talked about it, and I was very exciting at that time. So that was how I came to the community, and these are tweets from last FOSS4GEs where people gave feedback on how they liked the conferences, and it was the same effect for me. I went there, I met so many nice people, I got contact to persons that I only knew from the mailing list, like Jeff McKenna or Steve Lime or Venka or Frank Wormedam I saw, and it was so brilliant to have this experience. So I wanted to go there forever. So that's how I got into the community. So now let's go back what we have, and you could profit as well. We have this TIB AV portal. It's from the University of Bibliothek of Library of Hanover, and they publish our videos. So hopefully the video that we have from this conference will be there as well in some months. So you can watch them afterwards if you want. And now let's go to MapBender, which is the topic of this talk, and let's see what MapBender does. So why should MapBender can be interesting for you? It's a WebGIS client suite with administration web interface, and that's the main thing, I think, for people who are not programmers. It's slow somehow. So the big goal is that you can create geoportal applications without writing a single line of code. So if you are not a programmer and you are used to graphical user interface, it could be the tool for you. You can create and maintain a OWS repository, Nowadays we only support WMS, but we want to support more services like WFS or WMTS. You can distribute and configure services among applications. So you can create many applications, you can create users and group, and then ship the applications to the people you want to have access, give them access. So as you remember the slide from before, the black one, it's the same goals that we still follow. So we have these three components. And this is what a MapBender application could look like. This is a demo application, which is not very nice. We had a programmer who really liked black, so he made this black version of the applications. But if you have a look at the MapBender gallery, you will find some more applications that were done by users, or maybe some of them we did for them. And this is one application. This is close to Cologne. It's from Oberbergischer Kreis. They are located in Gummersbach, and they are working with map server, MapBender, PostgreSQL since a long time. They made this nice application. So you have the topics that you want to publish in your application in the layer tree. You have functionality that you can add to your application, and the user can navigate and change the scale or can change the projection. You can have a look at your legend. You could measure, or redline. This is a tool that you can use for redlining and then print the things that you redlined. Or this application, you can see you can add additional services to your application just while you are using the application. And here you see it is a bit of a different design, so you can modify the design easily. You have measurement functionality, and you have a print tool. Here at this application you can, or in every application you can offer prints for print layouts that you can use in the application, and you can easily modify OpenOffice draw files and provide your own print template in various sizes. Okay, so let's have a look at the background, how it works. That's the interesting part. So after like one day of workshop or so, you know how to, or after reading the tutorials, you should know how to create your own application. You log in to get the rights to do, to use the backend functionality of the administration backend. Then you get this tree at the left, which offers you more rights. And then you could create a new application, give it a name, and fill this application with functionality. Somehow it doesn't work. Okay, so an application is empty at the beginning if you start from scratch, and here you see the regions which are represented in the application, and in every region you can add functionality. We call it elements that you can use, and you create an application and feed it with many elements, that you like to offer, and create an application like that. You easily can create an application by copying an existing application, so you don't have to start from scratch. And then every element has a different configuration that it needs, and you have to, in this case for the map element, define the bounding box, the start extents, the projections, the scales that you would like to use. And maybe for legend element or digitizer element, it's different. So one by one you can feed your application with elements. And you also need services. So at the moment the application is still empty, but we have the possibility to build up this OWS repository. So MapBender has to get to learn about services, the services that you want to use. So you can feed MapBender with information about services, and then go back to your application, add we call it layer sets. These are areas where you would like to administrate services. So you can make a layer set for your main map and one for your overview map, for example, and then put services to these layer sets. The WMS that you add to your application, you also can configure. So Mapbender knows everything about the servers from the Get Capabilities document, and then you can define which layer you would like to use and in which order, and whether it should be displayed at the beginning or whether it should be disabled when you start the application. So this is not very modern looking, but here you can define all the things that you want to have for the servers. Then you can via drag and drop order the services that you would like to provide, and in the end you have a map with the services. And here in this application I already added the overview map. Then you can create users, you give information about the users, you can create groups, add the users to groups, and then going back to your application, you can say, okay, this application, in this case, it is, at the bottom you see, it is authenticated anonymously, so it says everyone can use it. So if you open it, you don't have to log in. But on the other hand, I added at the top that this new user, Astrid Emde, may view this application. So it doesn't make normally I should now delete the lowest line. So only root and Astrid Emde should be able to view this application if I want to get restricted access. And like this, you could add a group to your application or handle the management who is allowed to see which application. And nice thing is also that you can do it on the application side, but you could also do it on the element side. So maybe you have a digitized element that you added to your application. Not everyone should be able to use it. So you could say, okay, this element in the application, only maybe Astrid Emde can use it. Okay, so let's see some more features in Mapbender. So you can have an image export and export the map that you see to, in this case, PNG or JPEG. You have a POE functionality, so you could locate a position, write a text, and then a link is generated, but I think the slide is somewhere down. So it will generate this link, and you could send this link to someone else and say, okay, go to this link, and there you will find FOSS4GE Europe 2017. So it was in Paris. I used that slide from last presentation. So this is what we have as well. We have a click or zoom coordinate element. So you can click in the map and then get the position in the projection that you use in the application. But on the other hand, you also could say, okay, give it to me back in a different projection, or you could enter a coordinate and then get zoom to the position where this coordinate is. We have a search module. That is a module that's called SQL search router, which can communicate with a PostgreSQL, a PostGIS data table, and you easily can set up a search module which maybe offers an address search or parcel search or whatever you want. You are really flexible, and after you know how you can figure it, it's easy to set up for all your data. You have autocomplete, you get the result, then you can define in which scale you want to zoom to the object, and this is how you configure a search like the one you see here. So you have to define a connection to a database, your relation, that's your table, and then the columns that you would like to have, and whether they are input fields or select boxes, and what you want to offer as result. And it's really not easy. You define it in YAML and are very flexible. You don't have to write code directly, but only have to know the configuration. So we also have a Solr search, which communicates with the Solr service. That's nice and fast and flexible as well, and you can add it to your application and do quick searches. We have a base source switcher, we call it, which allows you to define services or collection of services as base source or as thematic collections, and then you have this select box that will be added to your application, and you could switch easily from one collection to the other. So you have feature info from all the WMS that support us. You can ask the feature info, and in this case, due to feature info, you can add additional services to the application, and you can save the things that you see. You can save in a WMC, and then reload it or offer it here as a select box to add the information. So you see, you can use different layouts, you can style MapBender as you need it, you can add the information or the elements that you need, and you have another nice feature. You can have use this HTML element that allows you to add an impressum, or in this case to add the logo or a link or an image or everything that is possible in HTML. You can easily add it to your application without writing a new module or so. The styling you can do via the CSS editor in the backend directly, in the administration backend, but if you want to have your own style for all your application, it makes sense to go on the server and define a SCSS file there that it will be used throughout all your applications. So you make your own bundle and your own application. We have a mobile template that you can use from scratch. We don't have a responsive design at the moment. That's a thing that I'm working on. So you are forced to have two applications, one for desktop, one for mobile at the moment, which is not so nice, but we are working on that. We have a nice digitizer functionality, which is similar to the search module. You can configure it via YAML, and it offers a big variety of functionality, and it can help you to produce these complex forms quite easily. And do digitalization, editing of objects. We have a good documentation where you can find documentation about every element. And these are the components that are behind MapBender. It's MIT license, and I hope we did everything well. We use a PHP framework, Symfony 2, which brings a lot of functionality. So for example, Doctrine for the database abstraction layer, or for templating, it brings Twig. And we don't have to do it from scratch, everything. And at that time, when we started with MapBender 3, with this version, there was only OpenLayers 2 around, and OpenLayers 3 was just under development. So at that time, we used OpenLayers 2, but we are on the way to move to OpenLayers 4 now, and we use MapQuery, jQuery, and MapBender always needs a database. So here you can see for administration, the information will stored in a database. So we are at 3.0.73 version at the moment. It came out last week on a Friday the 13th. I hope it doesn't matter. So you can have a look here at the versions. It's a major release, but with a lot of refactoring and not so much new functionality. We have Docker images for MapBender, and Docker image. And we have an active team. Unfortunately, all the members are at Workgroup, so we don't have developers outside. We had some, but they are not active anymore. So here you can see my colleagues, and the chair is Axel Schäfer at the moment, and he works together with Rolf Neuberger, who is the architect, and I'm running out of time, but it's nice to see the PSC and the people, and we are talking a lot about MapBender in our company and have regular meetings and bring MapBender forward. and we work on many projects internally, and not all of the functionality nowadays is already open source. So let's see, I will come to an end soon. We have, as you can see, members all over the world, but most of the users are in Germany or German speaking language. But MapBender can be used in different languages already. So we translated it to some languages, and it will be on OSGeo Live 12, which is coming soon with a new version. And so I will skip this. Maybe interesting is that we are working on a routing functionality. We have an element that supports routing with PG routing and Grasshopper. So you could add a Solar search to your application, then use the search to find your locations, and due to a PG routing request, you will get the distance and you get information that you can figure in the backend as well as we saw it with the other elements. So you can go through the slides maybe afterwards. A big thing that I just mentioned was that we want to go to OpenLayers 4. We made a sprint in July, at the beginning of July, to work on this. It's not finished yet, but we did we are on a good way. So hopefully at the end of the year we will be able to use MapBender with OpenLayers 4, but we will provide both ways in parallel, and then try to move to OpenLayers 4. So let's see. Okay, you can join the community, and these are my colleagues. So these are the people working on MapBender. They are unfortunately not here, but you can meet them at other events. And you could try MapBender at the workshop on Friday or on yourself with a demo. And hope you will have a nice conference here. This is a picture that was drawn by the niece of Venka some years ago. And I always like to have it in the presentation at the end. So may the FOSS be with you. Enjoy the conference, and thanks for listening.
Thank you. Quick question? Yes? No? No? I guess no. Thank you very much. If there is any questions, you can ask Astrid afterwards during the coffee break. But now we have Andrea talking about making beautiful maps in, I guess so, yeah. There's somebody's glasses.